Welcome back to Romantasy Chaos HQ, the pod. We are Avery and Xavier Harleston, healthcare professionals by day, romantasy theorists, and aspiring authors by night. Today we are covering the epigraph from Fourth Wing, Chapter 14. This is your warning. There will be spoilers for the entire Empyrean series. If you have not read all three books, it may be time to turn back. We are not rated E for everyone. Xavier has a degree in cussing and he's not afraid to use it. We do discuss any and all adult topics covered in these books. We like a challenge, so we tackle each epigraph without prepping, placing it into the context of the entire series, not just the chapter or book it's tied to. But you don't have to take it cold, so here is our one-sentence summary of the chapter. Violet makes Jack run away and knocks out Orin, but is about to succumb to Tynan when two mind-blowing things happen. Xaden takes a step, and a giant black dragon shows up to protect her, and apparently bond her in the process. There are 6 minutes on the clock and so much Fourth Wing lore that even Taryn couldn't recite it all. So don't blink, don't scroll, don't let Taryn distract you. We have 360 seconds to blow your mind.
And go.
In the 6 centuries of recorded history of dragon and rider, there have been hundreds of known cases where a dragon simply cannot emotionally recover from the loss of their bonded rider. This happens when the bond is particularly strong, and in 3 documented cases, has even caused the untimely death of the dragon. Navarre, An Unedited History by Colonel Lewis Markham. Okay, well, let's just start with this. I'm going to ignore the 6 centuries of recorded history because we all know that we purged 2 centuries worth. And this is not an unedited history, which makes me kind of question this whole thing. There's like lies all over here. It's not an unedited history. It's a heavily edited, redacted, and changed history of Navarre that has ignored centuries of information. And if you're getting rid of all of the things we know about Venin from our history, what else did we get rid of about what we know about dragons and dragon rider bonds?
Well, and I think the history ended up erasing a lot of bonding magic. I think we are
You mean knowledge of bonding?
in knowledge of bonding magic. I
Okay,
mean, so
fair enough.
we've talked a lot about that this bond, survives death, right? That we have an entire theory around what the impact of this bond surviving death is. But whether it is the bond with griffins and their flyers, which, 100%, leads to if one dies, the other dies, that the dragon rider bond, whether the count's right or not, um, the concern for the dragon dying if the rider dies, and definitely the rider dying if the dragon dies, that partner bond pulls them into death if it is strong enough. And that seems like it pulls them into the afterlife. And if it doesn't pull them into the afterlife, the unable to emotionally recover is they get somehow attached to the other world, to the afterlife, because they are still bonded to that soul that has gone to Malik.
So this is really, the more I think about this, do you think dragons have souls the way that we think of the humans having souls, in that it is kind of something eternal that lives on even after physical death? And because we believe this is based largely in Celtic mythology, does draw upon kind of this idea in Celtic mythology of reincarnation, of the eternal soul, of the ability to essentially be reborn. Do you think dragons, and I guess griffins too, have souls?
I do, and this, gets back to, why would the Griffins want to be burned so that their souls could go the with their flyers, where it seems like the bond with dragons is tight enough that their souls are that if they die when the humans die, their souls go with them, and that they drag the human souls with their souls. So I think there definitely is this intertwining of souls that's part of this partner bond, and that it is,
The
the
partner bond or the rider dragon bond?
I think they're all forms of partner bond. I think the dragon rider bond is a similar magic to the dragon mating bond to the griffin rider bond, and it causes this entanglement between those two individuals.
Do you think that the bond between the sage or maven and the initiate and ASIM, whatever that kind of venom mentor, for lack of a better word, bond is also causes entanglement of the soul, or no, because they've lost their soul or the majority of their soul?
Uh, I mean, I think the entanglement's going to stay, and I think we're going to see in book 5, Violet and Xaden are still going to be entangled. They're still going to be able to communicate. So this connection survives the transition to Venonism, which we saw with Jack and Bade.
Mhm. Mm. Mhm. Now I'm really thinking about this. But let's let's go back to, the epigraph. How much of what Markham says can we trust?
I
Just
mean,
in general.
I think we can trust that some dragons have died when the riders have died,
Mhm.
because Taryn and Sigale definitely have that fear. So if Taryn and Sigale weren't concerned about it at all, if that was not also part of the Empyrean history, they'd just blow it off.
Mhm.
And we do hear about dragons that don't return to service. We don't have a reason for why, but it would make sense that it was because their rider died and they didn't recover. And what does recover mean for a dragon? We have no idea. But I think it harkens into this, psychological damage of losing, you know, fellow soldiers and teammates in combat, that like it does do lasting impact, and some people just don't come back to the fight after losing, their brothers and sisters in arms.
Hmm. I do wonder too, like, in the cases where the dragons have been unable to emotionally recover, I feel like that's just such a blanket term. Okay, well, that's our time. So, did we blow your mind? Let us know in the comments, and remember, we love you. Stay out of the clouds, off the ice, and come back to us. We'll see you next time.
See you next time. Remember, lore lovers, fantasy fanatics, and good girls, like, rate, review, subscribe, and share.